I'm BrianTheBlue, and welcome back to Current Calamities, where I take a break from the past to look forward to the future with the games of the present. Now that we got the preliminaries out of the way, let's talk about Metroid 5.
Metroid Dread, the fifth game in the mainline Metroid series, and a brilliant way to hold gamers over while Prime 4 is in never-ending development.
I mean, they could have ported the trilogy onto the Switch, but I'm not gonna argue with what we got instead. After 19 years since Fusion, it's about time we got a sequel.
Fusion is the only one out of the four I haven't got presently, but you can bet I played a good amount of the original three. Though I haven't actually beaten any of them, I know how legendary and great playing they all are. And now we're here, and you can probably tell how much I'm looking forward to playing this, though I wish I had snagged the special edition, but you can't find those anywhere at the moment. But I'm sure Nintendo will do right and print more, so I'll grab one down the road.
But for now, let's see what we're gonna get ourselves into on Planet ZDR. Oh, and of course, spoiler warnings are afoot here.
Before we get into it proper, let's take a moment to admire the title screen.
The familiar tune has never been more foreboding.
And after toggling the brightness setting, we get a recap of what has happened previously in terms of the alien Metroid, the X-Parasite, and Samus's encounter with them. This is basically catching us up to the events of the last game.
And is it bad that the first thing I thought of when I heard the music was Galactic Pinball? My brain remembers the weirdest shit.
So anyway, though we think the X-Parasite are now extinct, a video of unknown origin shows one alive on the planet of ZDR. And after initial investigative efforts go nowhere, Samus is called upon to once again do the bidding of the Galactic Federation. It isn't long after we get there that we get our ass handed by some sort of being that pretty much wipes us clean of our abilities and leaves us unconscious. And when we come to, it's time we get to the crux of this game and start exploring. The beginning section will get you familiar with the controls. It's basic for now, but there will be more to come later, so this is good to have, as we don't get to play these games too often.
I've noticed a pattern that Metroid games will be on 2 Nintendo consoles before skipping the third. It was on the NES and SNES before skipping the N64, then the GameCube and Wii before skipping the Wii U. The handhelds, however, are a wild west when it comes to the franchise.
It isn't long before we reach a room where we can contact Commander Adam, who's keeping tabs on our mission. He'll lead us along in the story, where right now he'll be looking into our attacker, who might have been a Chozo, the creators of the Metroid beings, and has told us to get back to our ship, which is all the way up at the surface, while we're deep underground.
But that's really the least of our worries now, as it isn't long before we have a bigger problem. You remember the first search party of robots that was touched upon in the opening? Well, we found one.
And he isn't looking too good or friendly, so our only option is to run, which leads us to some sort of thing that gives us the ability of an Omega Cannon that lets us easily defeat that robot, though we can't keep our Omega Arm.
And this is so much to take in, but I'm not gonna ask questions. We'll just let it happen.
And even before you have time to breathe, you'll run right into another one in much better shape, and we hightail it out of its sight and potential grip. Adam informs us that the E.M.M.I are extremely dangerous and best to be avoided at all costs, or will most likely die. He's 99% positive on that, but you are saying there's a chance? Never tell me the odds. From here, you get to explore more of this area, going in, out, and around the E.M.M.I zone in order to progress in one form or another. There is somewhat of a direct path to follow, but it may take a second for that to become clear. Heck, you might find doors you're unable to enter at the moment, but that's okay. As with most Metroid games, backtracking will be a must, as some collectible items will be unreachable for the time being, unless you keep a good eye on your surroundings to find an easier method hidden in plain sight. On the other hand, you'll likely find a power that'll help you out, which right now I've acquired the Charge Beam, which will let me get through doors or destroy enemies faster with a charged shot.
I'm basically Mega Man right now. Who would win in a fight? Leave a comment below or figure it out in Smash!
Now with our new ability, we've been led back to where we started this journey, but with a whole new way to go about it. We can enter different doors to discover more of the area, and I should mention you'll bump into plenty of save stations if you're one of those kinds of people. You'll also find other doors that lead to hazardous sections that'll cause you damage, but they'll undoubtedly come into play later. Right now we have other things to interact with, like lava flow to unlock doors.
Lava as an energy source. That could be viable since it burns all the green.
Following its flow leads us to one of these brain beings we encountered earlier, only this one is living and on the attack. Clearly this harkens back to the mother brain fights of old with the circular bullets and, well, the brain. They're fairly simple to defeat, and they give you means to defeat the E.M.M.I just like last time, but with a little something extra in the Omega stream.
Now there's no way I can lose to it now. Mother bitch.
When you can shoot its face off, your cannon will go away again, but you'll gain another power along the way so you can continue, and I would say that's what you basically do from here on out. But I had another thing coming, and it was in the form of this monstrosity. The first boss within the first hour is welcome and a good way to change things up when you might have least expected it.
I mean, hell, all the focus was on the E.M.M.I. Forgive me if I thought the game was going to be all about them. But that would get boring, so bring on the Corpius.
It's got 3 phases that are pretty simple to get around. Be sure to put those missiles to good use, and I so happen to do it on my first try, so if I can do it, you'll more than likely do it better and feel like a badass while doing it.
There's a reason why we don't get too much Samus, as it takes a lot to get her right, and we know what happens when they get her wrong. Oh boy, the baby. New power. A freaking cloak? God damn, this can turn into Metal Gear Samus in no time.
Shortly after all that, we get the chance to move on to an entirely different area. Onward and upward, so we go forth to Cataris. Now most of the same things happen as before, where you encounter more enemies and another E.M.M.I to avoid as you explore the new section of the planet, but I'm not complaining as so far, I'm having a good time. Each area is unique enough that it doesn't feel entirely samey, if you get what I mean. I sure as hell don't. Let me try that again. Each area is unique enough to where they aren't the same. They may look like the same terrain, but you'll be going about them completely differently. And with your additional weapons and abilities you'll get along the way, it'll keep the game balanced without ever getting too easy or too difficult. And I also never felt like I was really lost, and if I was, I had to be more observant of where I was going or observe the map.
I'm telling ya, I like Metroid. May not play it much, but when it's here, I'm all over it. Just don't put its mechanics in games that don't make sense.
In time, you'll be able to find more areas to advance towards, more powers including the iconic Morph Ball, as well as a suit upgrade to survive the extreme heat of some rooms, and you're going to need it if you want to get any farther and fight a familiar face. I probably shouldn't go any farther, seeing as I didn't progress any farther than Kraid, but I'd rather not spoil anything more for you or me, as I like to experience the rest of the game for myself. But from what I played so far, I'm really liking it. Honestly, it makes me want to go back and play the other games in the series so I can complete them finally. This is a game fitting the First Lady of video games. But I don't think that title is true, as the first female protagonist in a video game is Billy Sue from Wabbit. But this is one time revisionist history can be for the better.
So, with all that being said, what's my overall opinion?
Nobody saw it coming, but everyone was looking forward to when it was releasing. You can bet your ass I was, and I'm not disappointed. Metroid Dread is a culmination of patience and determination to have a new game in the mainline series finally come to fruition and serve as a long enough distraction for us to forget about Prime 4 for another year or two, when they'll hopefully be ready before the Switch's lifespan concludes. This will be one of the games to get this holiday season, with a few others that I'll cover as they come out, and you know, this has me almost contemplating about buying Amiibo for the first time, as the ones for this game look sick, and I own none like a sane person does. So what do you think? Do you agree with me, or have your own thoughts? Let me know by leaving a comment. If you like what you see, like the video with those thumbs up. If you think anyone else would like this vid, share it around. And if you want to see more of me, this show, and others, hit the subscribe button. I'm BrianTheBlue, thanks for watching. I'm going back to the past, and until next time, I'll see you in the future.